Hi everybody, this is Bob Iacchino along with Mike Arnold from Path Trading Partners. It is June 12th. This is an afternoon Path Chat covering the futures markets. We're also going to put out a Path Chat covering FireEye, which has a pattern that Mike wanted to cover. But for now, let's talk about the VIX and the S&P and the NASDAQ and crude oil and the metals. We had the second down day in the NASDAQ in as many days. That is now the biggest move in about 8 months, 9 months in September of last year. It's the biggest two-day move we've seen in the NASDAQ. Some of the tech stocks rebounded. Tesla finished positive on the day. Nvidia finished positive on the day, but not so much for Microsoft, which finished negative. Apple finished negative. Facebook finished negative. Netflix finished negative. So it was still a mix from the FANG stocks, but the NASDAQ again took a hit. You can see the VIX chart on the screen here. Mike will go over it. That's the second spike in as many days, and both spikes were sold off, as you can see by the wicks on top there. We also had crude oil finish higher. Crude oil settled at 46.08, up about 0.5%, not much of a move at all. A lot of it had to do with the talk that Qatar was going to honor the production cut and still honor what they agreed to with OPEC, even though they're currently cut off diplomatically from some of their OPEC brethren. They're still going to honor that. That seemed to be as much of a political play. I'm pretty sure they're going to get pretty tired of that if there's not a change in the ending of diplomatic relations from Egypt, the UAE, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia, of course led by Saudi Arabia. So we had metals, gold down below 1270 now. Silver, again, down ever so slightly, not much of a move. And the Dow and the S&P, which Mike will talk about, up a little bit. In terms of economic news, money supply in China, basically unchanged, 10.4% versus 10.5%. Japanese machine tool orders, the actual, up 24.4%. There was no expectation on that. But having said all that, let me turn it over to Mike to let you know what he's seeing on the charts. Mike, it's all yours.
Thank you, Bob. Little pop up in the VIX today, finally closing in the 11s, 1146. Popped briefly above 12 before coming back down. Still, though, in the range back where we spent most of the beginning of the year. You see here. It's just recently we've fallen down into the 10s and 9s range. And when we've had some sell-offs or other concerns, you can see these much bigger pops. These are not really big run-ups in the VIX, even with the sell off in a lot of the FANG stocks and the pullback, especially in the NASDAQ. Let's take a look at what the financial futures are doing. Zoom in. Dow inside day came down, finding support at the 8 EMA, closing lower but rallying off its lows. Really have a couple areas we'll be watching for tomorrow. If we can trade above today's highs coming in at 21,226, we're going to be watching for a rally possibly up to the 21,270 mark, most recent swing highs. Then if we get through that, 21,370. If we get to below the 8 and today's lows, which were 21,139, we will be watching for a retest of Friday's lows, which come in at 21,081, and then this very key area, 21,071 to about 064, and if we do break through that, 21,050. That's what we will be watching for tomorrow in the Dow Mini Futures. Switching over to the S&P. The S&P also inside day today, coming down, finding support just below our 25% GAN level, which came in at 2419 area. The actual low today was the 2416.75. If we head below that tomorrow, going to find some key support coming in about 2414. Then we'd look for Friday's lows, 24.1250, and then if we broke through that, we'd be watching for a trade down to 24.06 area. If we rally through today's highs, next level of resistance is 24.31. Today's highs, by the way, were 24.2875, so that's going to be some very minor resistance. Then we'll be watching for that 24.31 level. If we get through that, we will be targeting the 24.35 area, and then the 24.39 to 40 area, and once we get through that, 24.43 to the upside on any strong rallies. Finally, over to the NASDAQ. Which again, left behind a very nice candlestick wick, nearly trading down to the flat 50 and again level at 56.40 area. The actual lows today were 56.43.25. If we do head lower tomorrow, this trend line can actually be taken off now. I didn't want to take it off before we started our charting, just to show you where we dip through today. If we do head lower tomorrow, we'll be watching for first levels of support about 56.96 to 56.85. If we get through that, we'll watch for a retest of Friday's lows coming in at 56.69. Then we'd watch for a trade down to the 56.40 area. If we did get through that, we'd be watching for 56.27. On a rally back up, really key is going to be about 57.46, and then if we get through that, watch for today's highs 57.50.50. If we get through that, watch for a flat 21 exponential just above that 57.65 to 57.74 area is going to be key resistance on a rally up. Above that, we then have a hooking 8 coming in about 5800 to 5802. Then we'll be watching for the 5818. On a very strong rally, watch for a potential return to this breakdown level. First key level of that is 5845 to 5862. When we say a rally, if it can get through today's highs, we'll be watching for these levels to come out, and depending on the intraday momentum, we'll be targeting higher and higher levels if there's high intraday momentum. Many times when you see these tails come through, these wicks, long wicks and everything, it means a lot of buyers are stepping in. So if they can get it above this key close, and especially today's highs, we're going to be watching for a recovery rally. How long that lasts, don't know, but that's what we'll be watching for. Over to crude oil. Crude oil. Slight rally today, coming up just shy of our declining trend line and the declining 8. Today's high coming in at 46.71. So on a rally tomorrow, that's going to be our first key level. We're going to have some minor resistance again coming in about this 46.18. Then we'll be targeting today's highs. If we get through that, 46.84, then the 47.07, and on a major rally, 47.51. If we do pull back tomorrow, first key support is about 45.82. Then we'll be watching for 45.65, and then we don't really have anything until we get down to the 45.27 to the 45.19. If that level is broken, watch for 45.10 to 45.01 key support. Switching over to copper. Could not continue its rally up to the end of the clear path. Did pull back, closing just below our significant level. Today's close coming in at $2.61.4, and our significant level was $2.61.58. So you can see how we pulled back nicely. If we do pull back some more tomorrow, 260.36 first level, 259.61. Then we could see a drop down to the 258.40 level to 258.08. Very key support going to come in there. On a rally back up tomorrow, we will be watching for the 264.50 area as first first resistance, then the 265.12, and then we'll be looking for the end of the clear path at 265.88. Switching over to gold. Gold also pulling back, finding support just near our significant level, the 1265 level, which we've talked about repeatedly. If we do head lower tomorrow, 1265 is going to be the first level. Then we'll be watching for a return to about 1261.50 area right in here. Then if we break through that, the 1258 area. On a rally back up, There's going to be some resistance at today's highs coming in at 1272.40. Then we'll be watching for the 1275 level, followed by the 1277 to 78 area. And on a stronger rally, a really big recovery rally, we could see 1280 to kiss the trend line goodbye. Finally, over to silver. Silver also finding support at the significant level today. I think there's been a trend for the last couple charts looking at these significant levels. So key support's going to come in there tomorrow right around 1689. If we break through 1689, 1679, then 1670, and possibly if we get a big sell-off all the way down to 1658. On a rally back up, going to be watching for resistance coming in about 1703 to 1706 right in this area, and we have a key open and close in there. Then if we get through that, we'll be targeting the 1716 level, and then possibly around the 1722 to kiss the trend line goodbye, and also we have the 21 EMA coming in there. And even on a more substantial rally, next higher major area we have is 1728. That's all we have for you here at Path Trading Partners for you this evening. I'm turning it back over to you, Bob.
Thanks for that, Michael. New Money Path podcast is out. You can find it at Apple iTunes Store or on Google Play or on our website at pathtradingpartners.com. Hit like and subscribe if you like what we are doing, and we'll talk to you in the next Path Chat. Cheers, everyone.